Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Happy Nowruz to you all. Nowruz being a over 3,000-year-old tradition from the Persian Empire in the old times, and they celebrate the equinox. So I hope you've been having a wonderful days since 21st of March, where the time usually is between 19th and 21st of March or 22nd of March. That's the official beginning of spring. And so I hope you've been happy, healthy, and enjoying your lives and prosperity and hoping for the better future and fulfilling your aspirations and your hopes. Tonight, we're having a short discussion on YouTube and TikTok simultaneously, a live stream in regards to relationships, breakups, and how to move on with your life and find better and bigger things, and also topics of OCD and HOCD, having to do with intrusive thoughts and the components of the brain involved in this glitch of common glitch that every one of us have some kind of an OCD. And so we are open for questions, and we are now waiting for our YouTube subscribers to show up. This is spare the moment, and we didn't schedule it, so I don't expect maybe too many people show up. However, it's Saturday night, and I haven't done live stream for a long time. About 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I used to do the live stream almost every night during the COVID hoopla. So hoping to keep people who were camped out in their home and they could move out from all over the world, keep them company and discuss whatever issue that they might have had. And so now we have TikTok friends, about 74 viewers here. We have Yanni here, welcome. Gabrielle Urbex. This is Iwin. Promoting favorite hot dog toppings. Okay, to each his own. And Mary is here as well, come and gone. So, and we have some of our YouTube subscribers showing up. So if you have a question in regards to breakups, relationships, OCD subsets, intrusive thoughts, HOCD in specific, might as well go ahead and fire up your question and we'll discuss it. There would be no lectures. This is basically only here to answer your questions if you have any. Otherwise, I'll be quiet and have my tea and we'll look at each other and then I'll say goodnight. I do have a channel on YouTube called The One Point. And I have two channels on Rumble, one called mind@6truth.com. I mean, mind@6truth, and the other one, The One Point. And the other one is called, I think, OCD, HOCD, Intrusive Thoughts. So I separated the channels there, but on YouTube, relationship breakups and OCD, all topics and videos are on the same channel. I have over 3,000 videos for you guys to enjoy in regards to breakups and so on, and about 1,000, maybe 800 or 700, 800 videos on topic of OCD and OCD subsets and HOCD, intrusive thoughts and so on. So there we go. My channel on TikTok, I'm sure you've had a chance to take a look. We have 102 people on TikTok, and we have unmentionable number on on YouTube. YouTube somehow doesn't circulate my live streams. Somehow either I'm doing something wrong as far as algorithm, meeting the algorithm specifications, or somehow maybe YouTube doesn't like to hear about positive things or things that are of value. Either way, we're here. I'm here, you're here. You're more than welcome to fire up your questions, and I'm here to see if I can help out. And I appreciate the ones who like the live stream, because that will help for others to hear it and join. And my TikTok friends are always gracious and they join, but they usually have no questions. And that kind of surprises me, because everybody has questions on these topics. But TikTok friends are very quiet. Moth says, I'm double tapping, or you're double tapping the screen with my tip. Okay, I don't understand what that means, but all right. Let's see. No, there's no questions here. All right, guys. By the way, I do have a site, mind@seekstruth.com, where you can take a look at the books I've written and take a look at the audiobooks and ebooks, the topics in regards to breakups or in regards to OCD and OCD subsets, such as HOCD. And of course, consultation arrangements can be made. You click on it, choose the time that you like to talk to me about the issues that you might be having, and we'll have a discussion one-on-one on Skype. Now, apparently Skype is going to discontinue its function in May somewhere, and we would then have to continue our appointments on Zoom or on WhatsApp, whichever works. Or I will find another medium to be able to have our one-on-one discussions electronically all around the world whenever you need it. And let's see what else we have here. I'm actually surprised. You guys don't have any questions. John, what? John Ross says, today is my birthday. I'm 36. Can we be friends? Well, you're here, so anybody who's here is a friend. That's what I think. Happy birthday, John. 36-year-old. You're pretty much in the same category as the age of my son. So very good of you to join us. All right. All right. Very good. Okay, we have Orbiters here from our YouTube channel. It says, hello, Mehran. Male 28, Los Angeles. That's our protocol. Anybody who has a question, we would ask for a abbreviation of their gender, M for male, F for female, and this is male 28, Los Angeles, the age, and where you tuning in from. And he says, I notice my OCD is worse when I get less sleep the night before. What is your advice for coping with intrusive thoughts with increased stress from poor sleeps? Well, sleep is very important, especially if you have OCD. Whether you have it or not, it's very important. One of the main reasons is you will find out in the video that I have on YouTube. It's called How to Delete Your Memory. I've elaborated on that, why it's so important. When you sleep, usually the brain shrinks to about 60% of its size. That allows a certain programs to start functioning. For example, there is a mechanism that goes and tries to find out what synaptic neurons that have created bridges between the two ends are functional or dormant. For example, if you're good at tennis, there have been more and more synaptic neurons creating bridge between the two, so neurotransmitters will pass through the information. You become very good at playing tennis or piano. The fact that they say practice makes perfect, it really what it scientifically means is when you do something more often, the two ends of synaptic neurons, the end and beginning of the next one, they create a bridge so they could allow the neurotransmitters for you to become good at what you're doing pass through. And they'll make more and more the more you do it. However, the same goes when you don't play piano as much as you used to. When you don't play it for a while, glial cells are going to be looking for these synaptic neurons, these bridges that are no longer functioning, that you don't use them anymore. Because they go, when you sleep, brain shrinks and there would be enough, let's say, real estate for this for the glial cells to go and find out which of these bridges are no longer useful to you. And when they find it, they mark it with a protein called C1q. And then when you sleep, this is when the sleep comes to the picture, microglial cells are the janitors or the gardeners. They go and find all these marked synaptic neurons with protein CQ1 and they destroy them because they've been marked. So microglial cells knows that they're not useful. They destroy them so you can now use the same two ends of synaptic neuron, create bridges for something else that you want to be good at. Now, in intrusive thoughts, you are doing what you're doing like in piano or tennis. You're constantly thinking about it. You're constantly using it. You're constantly training your brain to continue this negative way of thinking, which happens to be a glitch of the brain and you have no control on it and it's there. So your duty is to retrain and reprogram, rewire your brain. And sleep is very important because when you sleep, it will find what you haven't been doing, just like what you have been doing to create the bridges between synaptic neurons. It tries to find what you haven't been doing, and it's going to destroy those bridges so you become less and less good at thinking intrusive thoughts. So the first thing is to use the Dr. Schwartz 4-step, which I have a video on it, and there's a text on it. Whoever makes an appointment with me, in the discussion, I will send you the text that I've created based on Dr. Schwartz's 4 steps. And of course, the video of it is already there. And on my site, you can also go and check it out. It's also available there. So you use the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz to rewire your brain by using the technique of relabeling and then redefining it, which is called blanked out now. Relabel, reframe, and then refocus. And then when you do these things, which I've explained what each step means and how it's done, then the brain revalues. In the revaluation, it also learns not to do this as often as it does. When you do these enough times, those synaptic neurons, the bridges, find themselves out of work. And when they're not working, then when you sleep, a good night's sleep, glial cells find them, mark them with C1q, and then microglial cells go and destroy them. And in that way, your ability to keep making intrusive thoughts diminishes, and the brain learns and forgets about constantly making this, which is a nuisance. That's one way of connecting the good sleep and its benefits to the importance of it for OCD. Now, in order to have a good sleep, you need to decrease the ripples of your mind. Most often, the reason that you're not sleeping well is because your mind is still active at the time of sleep. It's like saying, I don't know why this engine makes noise when I don't want it to make noise. Well, it makes noise because it's still on. While it's on, it's going to burn the gas and makes the noise, and it doesn't stop. So you got to shut the engine off. Now, you can't shut the brain off. If you shut the brain off, you're dead. You can't shut it off. That's why you're alive. But you can decrease the activities of the brain to a level that it will allow you to then rest it and fall asleep. As long as your brain is active, you can't fall asleep. That's why meditation before sleeping is wonderful. That's why a breathing exercise before sleeping and focusing on the flow of air through your nostrils and following it as it feels, how it feels to travel through your nostrils, and then following it back when you exhale. So your mind is focused on a physical movement of air through your nostrils. So it's not just a physical move anymore. You've brought your mind, your attention, your awareness involved in this simple breathing, which means you naturally are kicking out any other thoughts or any other use for the brain to make other thoughts or focus on other thoughts. So you're limiting its thought, meaning decreasing the interaction, decreasing the activities of the brain by focusing it on one very simple thing, which is breathing. So while you're doing the breathing and focusing on the actual breathing, you hear it, smell it, you feel the air going through, you follow it through, you see it, and you come back with it when you exhale. So when you do this, your mind and body are coordinated. Mind and physical movement of the breathing becoming one and doing the same, focusing on the same thing. In that way, your brain waves and your brain activity reduces to the point that before you know it, you fall asleep. So that's one thing that you can do. Orbiter. Now, Somia Telonge is here, says, hi, female 20 from India. Welcome, Somia. And Somia says, and this happens with me, like if I like a guy, I don't reciprocate the same feeling. Why not? If you like the guy, then don't expect him to have a crystal ball. Most guys who are nice guys and they mean well, they're not going to be continue approaching you if you don't give them a green light, if you don't give them any encouragement, if you don't give them any welcoming gestures. And usually if they're decent, they're not going to press and invade your privacy. If they see there's nothing coming back, they find themselves to be disturbing you if they're of decent background, and they will move along. So if you like a guy, if you think it's worthy to give him a chance, or you like to get to know him, you gotta at least let him know that you're willing to sit down and have some tea. And you say he don't reciprocate. I don't understand, Soumya. He or you say, and this happens with me. What happens with you? If I like a guy, I don't reciprocate the same feeling. I'm not really clear your question. Maybe you want to explain it more. And Soumya says, I do give them hints. And in my friends group, everyone is committed except me. Is it my luck or what? I need more info. You're giving me riddles. You're giving me a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Is it you who don't reciprocate? Or is it you who give them hints and they don't reciprocate? And who is it that you're giving hints? Have they approached? Have they shown any interest that you give hints? Or you just give hints? I mean, if I'm walking in the street and a girl give me a hint, I will keep going because I don't know her. I didn't even wanted to know her. I have to do something to expect a reciprocation. It's like, no different than if you're walking in the street and you haven't shown, you have no reason, you don't know anybody in specific, or there's no particular occasion to call for some guy, make a comment, which is just a genuine comment about a circumstance, rather than hitting on you. If there's no such circumstance, you will just pass by. If somebody just, I don't know, smiles at you, there's no reason for it to respond. But if the person is making some kind of like you're in a friendly group, there's some reason that you know each other, and then he approaches, or you're just sitting somewhere, I don't know, maybe somebody comes in, politely says, may I sit with you, or may I have my tea here with you, or some kind of excuse that we boys make usually when we want to get to know a girl. And then you sit down and talk. Then if he gives you some kind of a notion of interest, then you can see if you like to reciprocate or not. But I really don't understand what the circumstance is, and who is it, and what situation is it that you're giving some kind of a hint, and why is it that they're not taking it? Samia says, okay, so how people attract love when they don't care? Again, you're going from the middle. Attract love, you can't attract love, you can attract lust, because love happens on the consciousness level. What we or anybody calls when we see a girl across the street, so, oh, I love her. We don't love her, we lust for her because she's got all dude up and she's pretty and all that. And we boys, especially we boys, we're very shallow. We are programmed for procreation. We see it's like I don't know, we're just like a sperm. We are running around trying to beat the others just because we're programmed that way. Not because we're being, obnoxious or something. We're programmed to admire and find that lady, our duty to pursue. Now, how we go about it is a different story. And we're not supposed to be infringing on their privacy and so on. It has to be proper approach and so on and so forth. So I need to know what the heck is the circumstance and what exactly you're talking about. Is what circumstance or what stage of the game it is. You can't attract love. You can attract interest because of your looks, or because of your manners, or because of your class, because of your interaction, because of your speaking, because of your knowledge. You can do that. And then from then on, you'll find things in common with someone. And then you find things in common as far as your consciousness is concerned, the content of your consciousness. And then through that bonding and through that compatibility, in a good time, you will find love. Then we can talk about it. If you have found enough things in common, but only one of you loves the other one, well, then there would not be much of a reciprocation. But if it's mutual, there will be no efforts. You will be competing with each other just to express affections. As soon as you say I love you, he or she will say I love you back, or I love you more, or adore you. And these words would not be a currency to purchase anything, or to bribe the other side, or to encourage the other side. These are free-willed emotions that you want to let out. In other words, these are like flowers you give to a woman. You give the flowers because you're admiring her. You want to give the flowers. You don't want anything back. You just want to say it. You just want to give it. Now, when you're in love, you'll say these things without expecting reciprocation. And if the person doesn't reciprocate after, a few times you say that, you move on. Because it's not something you can push or instill in someone. Yeah, in the long run, if your mannerism and attention and attitude and genuine honesty and purity is expressed, a person that might not have thought of you as a candidate may actually see, wow, you are far better than what you were looking for to be attracted to, because love takes place in consciousness. And over time, your manners and behavior and so on will introduce you in the level that your physical attributes could not have. Doesn't matter what physical attribute you have, but it could not have attracted that person so quickly or so heavily. But your manners and attitude and communication level and pure energy that you're extending toward that person over time will bring about the attention of that person, that the quality of what you're offering is enhancing your beauty or your fitness or whatever else it is. And that would be a genuine attraction, that reciprocation would be a natural thing. Okay, I hope. So how people attract love within the, okay, I hope I understand that. I explained that. Soumya says, like, people don't believe that I am single, and even I can't find my specific person. And if a guy has all the qualities that I want, he doesn't love me back. Well, listen, I don't know enough about you. I've never seen you. I don't know what you do. If you're walking around and just as soon as you see a guy, you do this, well, obviously they're not going to respond, no matter how beautiful or fit you are. I don't know what your mannerism is. I don't know what your, what you're all about. I don't know what your characteristics. So these are things you need to examine. Why is it? Or maybe they're intimidated by you. Maybe you're so frownish. Maybe you're not so welcoming. Maybe you're so antagonistic. I have no idea. So I cannot generalize this, because you need to find out what is it that turns them off. And you say people cannot believe that you're single. That, I guess you're telling me that you're beautiful and you're fit, and yet you don't have a boyfriend, although you want to. So that begs the question of, what is it that you're doing that doesn't attract someone that you're attracted to, if you already have the aesthetics working for you? So that is something that I can't answer, because I really don't know how you interact, and what are your credentials, and what are your specific positive attributes of yours. I don't have that information. And Soumya says, even I don't know. Maybe they just think that this girl expects too much or doesn't pay attention to. Maybe you're waiting for them to make some kind of a move, and maybe if you're friend with them and you know they like you, but they just need a little push, then I don't know, just, I don't know, grab their ears and give them a kiss. What can I say? I have no idea. Don't do that. I don't know. Yeah, it's peculiar. I mean, the things you're asking me, I don't have enough information to tell you anything more. Now, let's see. Do we have any question in TikTok, friends? And Coop Rib says, hey, Uncle Jerome. Okay, well, okay. You're in a funny mood, are you? Wonderful. I don't know if you guys think this is funny or not. I mean, if you guys are not interested, just flip up and go to another channel. All right, let's go to YouTube. Looks like there's more sensible people on YouTube. On TikTok, looks like you're just here for fun. All right. So obviously, if this continues, we can cut out the TikTok and just focus on our subscribers on YouTube. All right. So Kamran is here. So thank you very much, Kamran. I appreciate that. Happy Nowruz to you as well. Very kind of you. And we have Gaurav. Oh my goodness, it's been a long time, Gaurav. Where have you been? Are you still in Texas? Am I still remembering it right? Says Nowruz Mubarak. Thank you very much for that. Have I remembered you right or no? It's been a few years since we last talked. Erica says hi. Hello, Erica. KYTOK says hi. How are you? Thank you very much. Well, unfortunately, on TikTok, we have a number of very maybe young or facetious or playful people who are not really serious. And they're just fooling around. So I don't think we need to spend time on this. We'll just leave you guys be and we'll pay attention to our YouTube friends. And anyhow, we've been around for 32 minutes right now. If we have a few more questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Otherwise, I can go and do some other things which a night like this begs for that attention. Maybe a nice movie or maybe a meditation, maybe something of that sort would be something more appropriate. But usually on weekends, I try to see if I can help some people with our live streams, which I don't do it too often anymore. All right. All right. We had to ask for Cooperip to take a break, block him since he's constantly being funny about 10 messages, all nonsense. So I think it's time for him to take a break. All right. So if you guys I thought TikTok is a serious place for for this sort of thing. It looks like there's so many mentally challenged participants here. Like, who's this? Salvatore. He's constantly saying the same word over and over for about 20 times. All right. Okay. Continue your goofing off, and I'll go to my YouTube channel here. So Gaurav says, I'm not Gaurav from Texas, but I'm a long-time viewer, subscriber. Appreciate you doing this live. Thank you very much. You're quite welcome. Saumya says, does vibrational energy play a role in attracting love? It could, but as long as the other person is sensitive enough to and trained enough to feel the vibration. So it doesn't come to play when not everybody who's passing you by is an expert in vibration to feel your vibration, good or bad, to pass by or reciprocate. So, and then somebody says, please reply, Marin, I'm exhausted because of this issue in my life. I want to attract love. Well, why don't you go on my site, make an appointment so we can have a one-on-one for an hour and a half, 90 minutes, or at least, 30 minutes, but make an appointment so we can discuss it. And here, we can't, there's so many things I want to ask you back and forth. It has to be interactive. It can't be just a comment. And then it's not a formula that I gotta know what you do and the way you present yourself, the way you interact, and we can discuss it in detail. This way is just neither here nor there. We can talk about the vibration. We can talk about how to increase that. We can talk about your approach. We can talk about anything else, or the places, or the kind of interactions that you're looking for, the place. Everything else could be discussed, but in here it's just the limit that we had. I guess that was it, very general. Well, okay, I don't think that we need to go any further than that tonight. I appreciate you guys being here, the ones who are actually enjoying the series. And it's very, TikTok friends are really, it's totally not the same TikTok friends as before. Every time I put, there's like 400 or 500 people watching, and pretty much none were as silly as we have here. For example, what is this guy? This person is Chase. Chase says, are you Amish? In fact, yeah, I am actually. I'm going to go outside in a second and feed the horses, and then I'll have my buggy to go and, get my girlfriend and his family behind me, bunch of them all together. We go by the beach and we'll just sit down and pray, and then we'll come. I am, yeah. And I don't knock their actually lifestyle. I appreciate their lifestyle. They're wholesome, but I'm just being funny because you're just being funny yourself, so that's why. Otherwise, I mean, no disrespect to Amish. In fact, there was a chance I did have an opportunity to go to Lancaster, Virginia, and I happened to had the privilege of sitting in one of their Amish halls for lunch as they were serving lunch, and it was a restaurant. Let me just make sure this doesn't. Okay, and then there is a special dessert they had after food called shoofly pie. I was wondering what was that, and then it was very delicious actually. So pretty soon my charging apparatus here will not work. Something wrong with this wire. So okay, I'm gonna end the TikTok, friends, since we don't have any interest in here. My battery is off. So the ones who want to continue watching the live, you can come to my YouTube channel. It's called The One Point, THE, next word ONE, next word point, The One Point, and you can enjoy it there. In the meantime, I thank you very much for the TikTok, friends, and I'll end with you, and hopefully maybe next time we'll have a more suitable audience for this type of program. Thank you. All right, so what do we have here now? Saumya says, let me tell you something. Like when I see a guy, I feel he's out of my league. And then I reject myself and feel insecure. Then that's your fucking problem. Why would you ever reduce yourself to something less than some asshole who's walking by? Guy, why would you think you're less than him? In fact, a secret for you girls is that every one of you, at least at the outset, are way higher value and a trophy to a guy that is passing by. Any guy. Because what you got going for you is that we're programmed for procreation. We see a girl who's dolled up or pretty or takes care of herself, or somehow it's sexy in one way or another, and most girls are sexy to us one way or another. Doesn't matter what. We'll find something sexy in them. So you have a elevated status at the outset, before you guys interact on the conscious level. You are the trophy. It's always been traditionally throughout the history. The women have been the one who've been on pedestal when you meet. And later on, depending on their interaction and how they behave and interact with each other, that could shift the balance, whether on the guy side or the girl side. But at the beginning, there's no way in hell, and there's no reason in the world for you to discount yourself or somehow put yourself down for no reason whatsoever. And no guy is out of your league. The problem is not the guy who's not reciprocating. The problem is you, that you don't have enough confidence and you don't see yourself as the values that you carry with yourself. You're waiting to be affirmed and think that your value is in the minds of the others. That's the problem, because you'll always be a beggar hoping that somebody smiles at you, and you will run around and say, oh, somebody smiled at me, and you automatically, just because somebody affirmed you, paid attention to you, smiled at you, you would think that he must be very important and very, worthy of you responding in a very overly positive way, or elated that somebody paid attention to. In fact, women are supposed to think of all other men scums, because they know that all they want is to get into their pants. There's no other reason whatsoever until they get to know each other. Then they have reasons that they actually like each other, respect each other. They develop values and credentials. They develop respect and reasons for them to want each other. So right off the bat, any man who smiles at you, you don't have to smile back in the way as if this is a bonus that somebody gave you. Who is that somebody? Some guy in the street smiling at you because he wants to get into your pants. There's no other reason that he's going to smile at you. He doesn't know you to appreciate you. If it's someone that knows you and is your, very good friend or close friend, or, you know that this person appreciates your character or your interaction, or the guy is your boyfriend and knows you, that smile coming from that man who appreciates you, already knows you and has a relationship with you, then you might decide if that smile is worthy of appreciation or not. Otherwise, somebody smiles at you in the street, it could be benign, could be the guy's in a good mood, but either way, you're not supposed to be playing into that, what the guy wanted to do. Oh, he smiled, so I should smile back double. No. The only reason that the guy passing by a girl smiles because, hey, I like to get to know you. You look hot. And that's something you got to decide if you want to respond to that motivation or not. And you don't have to smile back just because somebody smiles at you. Just look, and maybe, if anything, you shake your head or don't say anything. You're not obligated to respond, whether by a gesture or by smiling back at some guy who passes by and smiles at you. There's no reason for it. But if it's appropriate and it's just, there's nothing really, into it, somebody says hello, and you kind of wonder, why is he saying hello? I don't know the guy. So you just pass by. That's the way you should think of yourself. Not that, oh, I'm lower than this guy because I'm looking for a boyfriend and he's whatever. What is he? He just smiled at you because that's what most men do. They want to smile because that means I want to get to know you. If I can touch you, if I can get to know you, if I can take you to coffee, if I can then la 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 la, the rest of it. That's the reality. Now you want to think, no, he's honorable. No, it's not. There's no guy in the world that doesn't know you and smiles at you and just wants to be what? Why are you smiling? Smile is because he wants something. He wants to create a connection. Now, if you respond that in a manner that is out of place, then it's your fault that you got to now clean it up, get it out of your life. So always it's best to know that you are the prize and you don't have to respond to anybody, and you should never think that the guy is out of your league. Even if you think the guy is out of your league, you still don't let that out. You communicate if the guy is interested or responds, and see if the guy is actually worthy of being so special to you, or you just were lonely and you think anybody's out of your league because you desire to have a relationship. These are not good motivations to have a relationship. So first things first, keep your head up. You're a valuable person. You have credentials that you should remind yourself of it. Whether it's your education, your expertise, your mannerism, the way you look, the way you take care of yourself, the way you attend to your job. You create the respect that you deserve. You can't expect people to give respect. You can't bribe them. Oh, he smiled at me, so I smile back, so maybe he will respect me. No, fuck that. You're under no obligation to think anybody is out of your league, right? In fact, you're out of everybody else's league. That's how you should be thinking. That's how a woman, classy woman, thinks. I'm out of everybody's league. Only the one that I choose is in my league. So that's your decision, not their decision. Okay? Now, having said that, we go to Bishav Raj says, from the time I hit from HOCD, what? From the time, I don't know. From the time I hit from HOCD, or I'm heading with it, brain every day picks everything negative, or that is not aligned with my interest and throws at me like a suggestion. What do with these attacks? Well, you got to go on my channel, on this channel, go on the playlist HOCD and look at the titles, and the ones that is relevant to your question, watch them. I can't be explaining the whole process of the mental game that HOCD behaves right here. That'll be a long journey of discussion. You can either do that. There's about 700 videos on OCD and HOCD that you can get help from. I've explained almost everything in there, so you'll be in good hands if you just commit yourself to those videos. Look at the titles and see which one you want to watch. Otherwise, you can go on my site, mind@6truth.com, make an appointment, and we'll discuss what's concerning you, all your questions in detail, one-on-one on Skype. And guys, know that the Skype is going to discontinue its services other than the commercial ones. And so you still can go on my site, make an appointment, and then we'll discuss it on Zoom or WhatsApp or other carriers that have this option of video calling and so on. Well, we can do that. And Rishabh says, and also having bad sexual thoughts about family members. Yeah, that's HOCD. Don't worry. There's nothing wrong with you. And also what to do about unwanted sexual fetishist thoughts. Doesn't matter. Like fetishes, like fetish. Everybody likes some kind of fetish. That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. Stephen is here. He says, hello, Maron. Hello, Stephen. How have you been? This is Male 44, Los Angeles. Thank you for that. Says, yeah, saying hello and hope all is well. Thank you very much, Stephen. How are you? I haven't heard from you for a long time. Hope all is well with you, your job, and everything else that we talked about. And it is now 50 minutes. We'll be here another 10 minutes, guys, and then I'll mosey on out and make myself some tea, watch maybe some Star Trek or something else. How do you guys like the background, by the way? You know, any comments on the background? I've learned this now. It's a little bit more exciting to have a background. Steven says, I'm doing well, Mehran. Thank you. Okay, I'm delighted that you're doing well. I'm going to give you a 1 minute or 2 minute break just to see if there are any questions, and instead of me waiting around. Let's see, there's one here. Steven says, your background is a big difference. Not used to it, though. Really? All right. Let me give you, get your opinion about a different background. How about this? Is this any better? And Bishop Raj says, it's not just HOCD, all the negativity, but it's going on in the world, and brain just picks it and just ask what if questions to me. Yeah, these are all HOCD typical behavior. Masterful mic. Okay, so Male 33, New Jersey. Thank you for that. And Steven says, after all these years, I'm actually okay now with being single and won't invest in just any woman. Good for you. So I like the ocean background better. All right, fair enough. The reason I had that background was because this is Nowruz. And as you know, if you know, Nowruz is 3,000-year-old New Year celebration of Persians. It's an old tradition. And that table was a special table that we would set around the New Year time, which is a certain time of revolution of Earth around the sun, and it's calculated by second. And it's been that many years ago that they came up with, which is still more accurate than today's calendar style. And so somewhere between 19th of March and 22nd of March, every year, depending on the day and the time and the second, the revolution around the sun takes place exactly, precisely, and that's where the beginning of the spring is. So, and then each one of those items on that table represent a certain kind of a traditional story and representation of some kind of a philosophical thing about the new year. For example, the little goldfish there represent life and movement, and the apples, I think, represents health of some kind. And there are other things that each have some kind of a meaning, which I don't really know it myself, but I know that they each do. And I've heard the explanations for it, but I don't know enough to have a lecture on it. So that's why I had that there, because yesterday was our New Year, or was it the day before? And so it's now, I don't know what it is, 2,000 or 3,000 something. Okay, now, Anya Val says, I like the background. All right. Steven says, I didn't know that. Yeah, right. That's why the background was that. Anya Val says, I like them both. Okay. All right, let's go back to the new year, because it's only once a year. We're going to do that. So might as well let it be. All right. And Great Jedi has honored the channel with $5 of super chat. Thank you for that. Let's see. What question? Is there a question? Thank you for sharing your wisdom. My pleasure, Gray. You didn't even ask anything. It's very kind of you to support the channel. I appreciate that. I remember you've been here before a few times in the past. And Rishav Raj says, is marriage a necessity or just exploring the world is good enough and making out with different women which build connection with me? Well, traditionally they have promoted marriage in the old times because being in a relationship was not a in thing at the time. They were trying to control women and control the society to grow to a certain way, and they thought being promiscuous is negative, and all these things have changed. So at the time, being married was being encouraged. But we all know that marriages don't always last because people have different reasons and different emotions or different needs or different thoughts. And due to the encouragement of the society and the programs that they've received at a certain age, they think they should accept some kind of a, proposal because that is expected of them, whether man or a woman, because that is expected of them by their family, that you are a legitimate member of society. If you're married, you have a different echelon. And these bullshits have been put in their minds, and so people get married for the wrong reasons. Some get married for economic reasons. Some get married because they think it's something to do. Some get married because there's nothing better to do. Some people get married because somebody insists and they don't know how to handle it. And there are many reasons. Some people get married because they love each other. Most people get married for the reasons that later on they regret it because they were not wise enough to know what they are getting into, or if the person who is on the other side is worthy enough or compatible enough. And without knowing each other, just knowing the visible things such as the economic situations or the good manners they put out rather than the reality of their characteristics, people get fooled and they make a decision, or they don't spend enough time to investigate or to get to know each other to see if that is a correct match or not, or values are compatible or not. So they get married. But in reality, it's not about the marriage itself that is important. It's about finding someone that you can resonate on the same level. The consciousness would be complementing each other. They would be able to treat each other with understanding of life and what life is all about, the challenges that it could have, and how they could make this life a little bit easier for each other rather than constantly expecting to be an entertainment. When two people really care about each other, the conditions, economic conditions and other conditions don't really come to the picture. That is the level of love that navigates a relationship, which makes it very easy to navigate because both of them are swimming in the same direction, holding each other's hand when the other one is not pulling its own weight. And that's the type of a relationship you should focus on. So sleeping around is not recommended because you become desensitized. You become desensitized toward women, and you begin to lose the value of the woman. You would treat them as an object and as a source of dopamine, a pleasure, a sexual interaction. You will not find the pleasure that you're looking for in casual sex. Men can often do that and they think they got something interesting, but nevertheless, unless they have some emotion, real emotion about that girl, they will never really enjoy that sex. And sex on its own can be pleasurable depending on your outlook or your need, especially for men. Women cannot usually do this so willingly or comfortably. They need a lot more emotional attachment to be able to do that. Decent women who have values, who have value for themselves and to consider themselves high value, they don't sleep around because they just don't believe that is what they are willing to give or what they're interested to get just for the sake of sex. Even if they are of a makeup of wanting to have sex with the right person all the time, they would still not comply to have sex with just anybody just to satisfy their need for sex. They have values and they have standards. So if you keep sleeping around, you desensitize yourself to respect women, and then the level of pleasure goes down when you actually have lost respect for a woman. So when you're sleeping with a woman, even the woman of your choice and dedicated to you and you to her, no longer you actually enjoy that sex as much because you think it's just another sex. You have lost your respect for the woman. But for the woman that you love or respect, that sex becomes in a different level. The pleasure would be way out of the window, much bigger. So putting yourself out there just for the sake of sex, wanting to have a relationship, I don't recommend. You become a whore. Even you're a man, but your mentality becomes a whore, and you won't be loving women, you'll be fucking women. And I never liked fucking women. I loved to love a woman and then make love to her and have sex with her, because that would be a totally different level. So don't have sex for the sake of sex. First bond, have certain emotional attachment and find appreciation in the values of that woman. And if you find that woman valuable, honorable, with good qualities, then go for it wholeheartedly. Otherwise, it's just bullshit. Yeah, it's pleasant. You masturbate, it's pleasant, but that doesn't mean that, that's the best relationship. Richard says, have you ever been to porn in high school? To prom. Have you ever been to prom in high school? Well, the high school that I graduated, we didn't have prom. It was all boys' school, and we would just graduate. But in college, of course, it was different. The homecoming queen and all that. But I didn't get to, culturally, my school system didn't have that kind of a arrangement. Anya says, interesting. And Anya says, that's true. All right, then. Steven says you should put a different background each time. I will. I will. I sure will. But this time, I think this is the most appropriate, given the. Let's see what else we have here. Can you guys see what else we have here? We have those flowers. Now, by the way, each one of these items that have special meaning and a special story to them, but they have one thing in common. There are at least 7 things should be on this table, and all those 7 things, names must start with the letter S or sound S or C. So that flower you see in Farsi, its name starts with S, sombol. The apple, its name starts with S, sib. The garlic here starts with, where it is, the garlic. You can see the garlic here on my, the shoulder where the flowers are showing. In Farsi, garlic starts with the letter S, sir. And that thing in the vase, it's vinegar, and it starts with the letter C, serke. So every one of these things, 7 things on this table, they all start with letter S. Now, what's this, significant of that? I really don't know, but that's how it is. All right, guys. I think we've had a good fun, and we'll look forward to have another one maybe tomorrow night. But for now, I don't see any other question, and I think we've already answered all the questions. So it's time for me to warm up my tea, or rather my cocoa drink, and put on some nice film, movie, and have some goodies. And I suggest you guys do the same thing. We're all in the same time zone, other than our Indian friends, who is 12 hours, 13 hours ahead. And Anya says, how to get clear to an avoidant. I want to communicate better with him without making him feel threatened. And USA Cristiano Ronaldo says, yo, Sensei, hello, how are you? So you asked about how to deal with it. As you know, avoidant personality is a disorder. It's not, when a person is avoidant, it's a disorder. He needs to really find out what to do with it. It's also the same as anxious personality disorder, similar to that. It's a cluster of C personality disorder, characterized by excessive social anxiety and inhibition. So it's not like he's trying to do it on purpose. He has certain anxieties that inhibits him from wanting to participate in social events as fluently as you do. Or they have a fear of intimacy, severe feelings of inadequacy. They may not think they're good enough, so it pulls them back. They draw energy, like not draw your energy, but there's something in Aikido we call extending ki, which is when you open and your chakras are open, let's put it that way, and the energy of the universe is traveling from one end of the universe infinitely that way to infinitely that way, infinitely from that way, infinitely this way, and all the other direction up and down. So all the energy flow of the universe is traveling from one end of the universe to the other end of the universe and passing through you on its journey to the other end of the universe. That energy, when it's extending out and you're encouraging it to go forward, that's called extending ki. But there are some people, which is very healthy. And in meditation, you extend ki and concentrate, meditate, and you extend, expand and condense, expand and condense. You let the energy come inside and then extend outwardly. That's an expression of becoming one with the nature's energy. But people who actually are so feeling inwardly drawn, fear of intimacy, fear of inadequacy, anxiety inhibits them to be able to want to be active socially, feeling of inferiority, all of that, they don't extend the ki out. So in other words, they boggle down the ki, they pull into themselves like they're depressed, which is, there's an exercise that we do that if you actually stand and focus to one imaginary point, to the ends and ends of the universe that you can't even see, but in your mind, while you're looking at far in the horizon, focus on sending your energy to infinitely far away and focus on that far away point, wherever it is, that as far as you can imagine, that your energy is flowing through that far away point. As long as you keep on that focus, if someone, your partner, your friend, pushes you on the corner of your chest here, you would be hard to move on, move backward or fall. You'd be stable because your energy is going forward and you're stable. But if you don't and you kind of feel depressed or anxious or feel sad or inferior, and the same test is done, the same amount of pressure, you will lose your balance, which tells you when you feel drawing in ki, drawing in energy, and not extending outward the energy, that's when you are weak and depressed, and that is not a harmonized way of being in the nature. So your friend who's avoidant needs to take care of these problems. It's not your job to think you got to cater in a certain way of dealing with him. He needs to figure out how he can understand that he's much bigger than what he's feeling, and he can be one with the nature and ride on that humongous infinite energy that is flowing out there and become a little bit stronger than he thinks he is. So so usually they express a pattern of extremely sensitive and the negative evaluation of themselves and so on. So that's what I have to say about that. I hope that's somewhat helpful to you. USA Cristiano Ronaldo says, I've overcome HOCD completely and living life like a very happy person. Thanks, Sensei. It's been 2 months since overcoming HOCD. Just wanted to thank you. My pleasure. I'm delighted that you have figured out. And remember, HOCD, if it even comes back, it's no fear, because it's a glitch of the brain. It's not a glitch of you or your sexuality or anything like that. Knowing how to deal with it and how to recognize it and how to not make it be something important having to do with you is the key. So even if it comes back, doesn't matter. You don't freak out, because you know what it is. It's HOCD. It's like I freak out if I have a cold. Oh my goodness, I have a cold. Or say, oh, I got rid of the cold. I'm fine now. Yeah, okay, fine. But great. But that doesn't mean if you get a cold again, say, oh my goodness, it came back. No, it's a cold. It can come and go. It doesn't matter, because you know it's a cold. The jig is up. It's not a surprise anymore. So you're good. Says that anyone suffering from HOCDs, it's easy to overcome. It's just understand this shit is meaningless. There we go. And watch Sensei's videos whenever you feel stuck. And okay, good. Thank you very much for that. And Rishabh Raj says, and when the triggers come, what do you do? Again, these are not something I can discuss here, because there's so many different discussions on this. So either go on the channel and find one of the 700 videos I have on OCD and HOCD, and choose one from the title of all these, or make an appointment. We'll discuss it specifically. Otherwise, one small question that how to deal with the triggers, it's got 2 hours of discussion. So we can't do that here. And Anya says, thank you so much. You're quite welcome, Anya. All right, guys, it's 1 hour and 13 minutes. I'm 13 minutes over what I had allocated for now. So I really appreciate you guys joining me, and hopefully you guys will be more next time I go live. So it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live stream. In the meantime, be good to yourself, and to the others, I'll talk to you soon. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mindthatseekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.